Yes. Yeah, well, very nice good morning. Thank you very much for having come back here in big numbers. Well, as several times you were referred to the presentation today, I try to answer these questions that have been raised. I would like to take up this very concrete question and mention it in my presentation. I wanted to do it that way because after everything we have heard yesterday, I think there needs to be some clarification. And let me start right away. I welcomed you already. It says AAL, augmented approaches to land, and underneath a success story. In the course of my presentation, I would like to show to you why it was a success story and still is one. First of all, and that was mentioned yesterday, César and Lufthansa, how do they belong together? And what about the large-scale demonstrations, the tests and the trials that we carried out? And then the part that I modified a little bit last night because of the questions that came in, performance-based navigation versus GBAS, and I put a question mark behind. And always, as it's being done in this environment, I would like to talk about a vision and the further approach. The reason why we've come here together is the vision already. We would like to address certain issues, noise in particular, and I think it's really important that we don't lose sight of this, apart from all the technical issues that we heard about yesterday and today. Some things have been said already yesterday from the colleagues of César. Lufthansa is involved in 3 levels of the system, and we have the unified European airspace, big words. We have heard that for many, many years and decades, and the question came up again and again, what's that? What is happening in Brussels? Do they just look into the paper? What do they do in Brussels? And we have reached a point where we need to say that this European project really has been brought home, and I think that's positive. This César project, the entire César structure, starts with research and development, and in the offices and in the research labs, people think of ways to make flights more efficient, and Lufthansa has committed itself. Sorry for using English terms all the time. And then the second part that I would like to talk about is that I would like to demonstrate that what people have developed at their desks in the labs really works in real flight conditions. And therefore, we intensively participated in the demonstration flights with other airlines. And then deployment, that's the next step. We need to find out how has it worked? What are the learning lessons? What's the outcome of the trials? And what can we and shall we implement to make sure that the ATM system can be further modernized with our help. As we are talking about demonstrations, in the past 2 years, we participated in 4 projects. One project was the optimized descent profile across country borders. The second project, free route, and here we wanted to avoid all these detours in Europe, because we have the very fragmented flight control structure in Europe, and military uses part of airspace as well, but not permanently. Germany, Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, war's over, so we can use their airspace as well and cross it. And the third project refers to capacity management at airports. It was mainly about Paris and Zurich. In the mornings, we found, it was clear to airlines, in the mornings a lot of holdings fly because there's traffic congestion. How can you distort that and relax it? That's also good for airlines because they can save fuel and we can relieve populations as there are not that many holdings. And the problem was not given here in Frankfurt, but still we participated in that project because our partner Swissair produced a great result in Zurich. With the new procedure, they could reduce holdings by 96% in morning hours. For Zurich, that's great. And let me tell you now what was nice for Frankfurt. Project Augmented Approaches to Land, AAL. Once again, a summary why this is a success story for me. We worked together with a consortium at European level, with European partners, and we really did something to the benefit of Frankfurt location. And I would like to thank DFS, Fraport, DLR, all our system partners who carried out this project here in Frankfurt. And they accompanied us intensively. And apart from technical insights, scientific developments, etc., apart from all that, I would like to show to you these projects also have another purpose. You sit together at a table, you learn what the other is thinking and how the other partner is working and what the problems are, and then you can create a benefit for all stakeholders. I wanted to say great, but because of the last election campaign, great is not really the word that I would like to use. So we really achieved great things, and thank you very much to the system partners. I mentioned it before. A few points now on PBM versus GBUS. I say versus intentionally, and there is a question mark. The impression has developed that PBUS, RNP and, all these terms are different. No, this is not the case. GBUS, that's the technology of the future. We all agree. Also, we as Lufthansa regard GBUS positive. Basically, it's a positive technology. But you have not come to Frankfurt to hear what we can do for you in 20 years' time. That's true, isn't it? I mean, it's nice to come to Frankfurt, but that was not the reason why you came here. No. We would like to change things in the short term or midterm in a way that we are able to do already today. And for that reason, we have to take this versus out, and it should rather go together. And these two parts, you can see it on the graph quite nicely. I have two parts. This is PBN, performance-based navigation, where with today's technology, Lufthansa can do that already. 80% of our aircrafts can fly it. In 1, 2, 3 years' time, it will be more than 90%, because then the aircrafts will have been replaced by the new ones. Orders have been placed already. Also, this curved part here at the front. Well, we can fly that already today with a big number of our aircrafts in our fleet across the group. The second part, GLS, is an add-on. GLS has benefits and has development potential, but to be very clear about it, for us, for the short or midterm, we would like to use the technology that we have already. That is a curved approach on GLS or ILS. We heard that in America there are 2 airports where GLS is operational. For us, this is not a benchmark or what we have in Europe in terms of GBUS. We can't say this is the key technology with skills that we can really squeeze with it in 10 or 20 years' time. Okay, it's a technology that indeed has potential, and Lufthansa has committed itself to test it further. We want to participate also in the future in test flights. But GLS is not available everywhere, and we have not tested it everywhere. So that the sensor change And process change can be done also with the classical ILS, and we have tested that as well, and it works in the same way. And this is so important. I really would like to be very open in that, and we can come to the questions later on. I assume that there will be the one or other question left. Now, what does curved approach mean? I sat down last night and thought about it. Well, I had the feeling that this is not really clear in terms of technology and what it might mean for us and you. There are two possibilities if we want to change the flight route. If I want to go from here to there, you can see it in the map. There is a point, Delta Foxtrot 270, and then I can change the flight path. So I just turn my steering wheel, and then I continue on this other track or path. So in the flight management system, in terms of coding, we have two possibilities. We design it as flight by waypoint, just we fly past it, or we define it as over waypoint, as you can see in the upper picture. Both has clear disadvantages. On the one hand, what I've published on this map, this line on the map, is not necessarily the line where the airport is located. Depending on the speed of the plane, the wind situation, the weight of the aircraft is in an area left and right of that route, of that path. And it's protected in terms of design because it's very clear that way. We have a big area in which the aircraft might be. That's not nice for us, but in present practice, how we have flown in the past decades, it's standard. The new approach is the picture on the right-hand side. We find an imaginative point, and we make a circle around it, and part of this circle, this radius, that's where we fly. And in the flight management system, this is encoded, and the aircraft can fly that route. In process design, it's made sure that this radius works with different speeds and wind situations, and it should stay always within certain limits. That's the special point about it, if we fly RNP with AF flex. So that's, so to speak, the background information. And now you can see quite nicely what you can do in terms of planning with that system. That's the wrong button. If you now take a look at the two maps, I've just chosen these two just to explain to you what we can achieve with that operation. On the left-hand side, you can see what we have done in Zurich. It says fuel on it in red letters. The old operation was replaced for the time of trials with the F-leg concept. So in this region, we have two curves directly taking the plane to the final descent. So we tested, first of all, how the I-legs can be flown in different wind situations in everyday operation with scheduled flights. And how does the transition work to GLS here? And also, how does it work with a glide slope of 3.2 degrees? We combine two things in order to make it technically feasible, evaluate it, and it really worked out. In Frankfurt, our approach was different. In Bremen, we also had our trial flights, but it was similar to Zurich, increased glide slope, fuel saving, and the AF legs in order to shorten the distance. In Frankfurt, the approach was different, and you see it quite nicely on that map. Here we wanted to see how the technology, the possibilities that the AF legs offer to us, how can we use them for built-on areas, highly populated areas. It looks quite nice on that map. Before, you also had positive situations, but as I showed you before, the plane was not on the line, on the curve that we drew before. And that's what I would like to show to you. I mean, sounds simple. A lot of people worked on the procedure design, but we wanted to show whether it's possible, not only with the 319 or 320, but also with our heavy planes. And we said in Frankfurt, We will do the trials with a bigger fleet mix, and that's the picture once again. We wanted to find out whether we can stay on this leg, on this flight path that allows us to fly around highly populated areas. Now, by way of summary, what have we done? We had 3 fleets, 747-8, that's standard equipment of GBAS. The A380 also has it as a standard, and the 320 family was equipped with GBAS. We have 3 319s, and we also used some that only had ALS as a standard equipment, so that we could really compare directly how the sensor change works from the curved section to ILS and GLS. We had 3 airports, I mentioned that before, and we tested 3 procedures, RNP to ILS, that is curved to ILS and curved to GLS, and also in Frankfurt with the increased glide slope of 3.2 degrees. Altogether, 221 flights were done. 160 could be evaluated. The reason was that to evaluate them, we needed to get the data of the planes. That was not always possible. Some flights had to be interrupted and stopped because of weather conditions, and we started the trials. Mr. Maul and myself were on the motorway as we came together for a conference in order to learn what happened, and then there was lightning that stroked the G-bus. So we said, okay, let's continue with ILS till it works again, and then we could also do the GLS in Frankfurt. 117 flights were evaluated in Frankfurt, and more than 240 feedbacks were given from our crews. We really managed to motivate our colleagues to participate in that procedure, and for long distance it means that they were flying 10 to 14 hours in order to test something here in Frankfurt. I don't know whether our colleagues learn about what I'm just saying. Don't think so, because they are busy with other things at the moment, strike, etc. But, you know, they really supported that. Pilots supported that, and in the feedbacks we really wanted to see how the pilot regards the impact on flight and handling of the airplane. How does it feel? What about the interaction with air control? So we really evaluated intensively in order to find out whether we can use it in real life. And if you have a look at the evaluation here, that's an example of the 747-8 to 2.5 on the left-hand side. It's a longer descent. So there is a straight here, and the yellow areas are the curves. The red line, that's the line that we need to have in terms of precision, the RNP-1. 1 nautic mile left and right from the track, that's where the airplane has to be. And if you see where the plane was, it's a precision that we hoped for, but later on it was really classified excellent, really good. Before the question will come, and as the picture is still there, what does this curve mean? Not colleagues coming back from Mexico, having flown for a long time. No, we found for the success of such procedures, it's important that air control and pilots work hand in glove, and in case of doubt, learn about the other partner, because a controller, and that's not bad, a controller vectored the plane quite late on the curve, and the pilot needed a few seconds to come back to the original path, and that's RNP-to that's the next certification level of precision. So even if it was not demanded already today, we have this high level of precision. You see, I'm really excited, as Hessian people would say, aufgeregt, really excited, because it's so great to have the crews, and they were informed with a handout about it, and we really reached this really high level of precision, and that was so important for me. You know, what was developed on the desk, so to speak, was possible in practice, and what we are doing here is really up to us, not only us Lufthansa, but as air traffic system. We need air control, we need an airport, the users, in order to pave the way for such procedures in the future. The other area that's also quite nice, that's the red area, that is where the plane could be, minimum heights. What you see quite nicely here is that the aircraft flew already continuous descent. So in terms of energy and noise, we reached an optimum once again, although by means of fact it would have been possible to go down here or there. And in research and development, it's quite nice. If the plane comes in at a high level, as it was here, in terms of design, it would have been admissible. But for a jumbo, such a big plane, it's so difficult to get rid of the energy on the descent. So at 1,000 feet, the pilot decided to start through, so to speak, and passengers had another flight time of 15 minutes. It was quite nice. They could see the Rhine-Main region. It was blue sky, and, you know, that's research and development. And everything that we found here was then used in a training concept, which we developed in parallel. And Mr. Lumnitzer of Conda talked about that. You know, in order to make procedures like that even more efficient in the future and more precise, we need to pick up our people, involve them, not the fleet managers and the captains, but everyone, all partners, all stakeholders. Also would like to show that picture to you. Probably you can see better on this picture. I selected 4 flights, one A80, A2, A90 and a Boeing. They flew that procedure, and if you look at that, they have different weights, they came from different directions, and you see it's a high level of exactness. You know, one came from south. There is a coincidence of turns that show this very high level of precision once again. That's really what we wanted to have, that we wanted to see. We hoped for it, and it materialized. As a summary, we were the first consortium, as a first airline, Lufthansa. We now have in our scheduled flights with ordinary pilots, we have really, for the first time, carried out that concept in the world, as first airline in the world, and we demonstrated that it is possible. So we can fly in scheduled flights like that. I mentioned precision. I can't repeat it often enough. We were really within the limits. The change to the different landing systems worked greatly in Bremen and Zurich. Fuel burn and track mileage could be reduced as well in Frankfurt, although we have not considered it from a scientific point of view, just calculated it roughly. We didn't have to use more fuel, although we didn't concentrate on that point. It was not designed. We were not meant to reduce fuel burn, but as we worked together with DFS and the air controllers, we didn't use more fuel, just to put it that way. Nevertheless, if there is sun, there is shade always. We still found a few things that we need to consider in the future designs of procedures. You know, where to place the curve, for example. You can see that when you come in from the north and the final descent would cross the northern runway and then the southern runway. For capacity at an airport, that's not the optimal solution, and for the workload in the cockpit, it's bad also, because they have to see that they're not allowed to land in the first time, only the third time when they see the runway. So that's what you find as well. And last but not least, our noise measurement data are promising. I say that intentionally. Mrs. Goldmann, thank you very much for the great cooperation with Fraport and everything that you have done. You have taken a lot of efforts in the regular service of Fraport. They also had to evaluate our data in addition to their everyday workload. So thank you very much for this cooperation. And I'm happy to hear your presentation as well, because it will round off the whole picture. Shall we have questions? I'm not through. I have just read the climax, you know, of enthusiasm. Just Let me stay till the end. Okay, let me show you this picture only briefly. Just bear it in mind when we get a presentation about noise later on. We also looked at how a plane would behave in terms of noise when we fly this curve. If I fly a curve, I need more energy, and that means more noise. I mean, that's very clear in theory. But we've shown that here as well. I will do it very briefly, not highly scientifically. We have 4 engines with the jumbo. The straight line, the non-dotted line, shows the 4 engines on our trial operation. And the dotted line, that's the engine output in percentage of a comparative flight on ILS. You see here they flew a curve, that is the engine output is above the one of the comparative flight of ILS, but here we opened the flaps already. They were started to be opened here. You see flaps open, more drag, more noise, and that's what we assumed, and probably it will be reproduced in the evaluation. Okay, that's it, the take-home message. Basically, we have shown, and I mentioned that before, that the system works, and I'm proud of that. I'm really proud that we could show it that way, and also demonstrate. I'm so enthusiastic, otherwise I would not be active in research. I love GBus. I think it's great, and we achieved great results. During the winter storm in America, we could still land in Newark. All the others had diverted. Great thing. But I'm a realistic person, and sometimes I'm rather oriented to short time horizons. And I have to say that there are other options as well that we need to use in our toolbox. We, as Lufthansa Group, always ask about the implementation of these procedures, but we need our system partners to do it. Of course, and that's one finding, of course we support future designs, and we should really become involved as we will use it, because we know what our planes are able to do right now and what they should be able to do in 10 or 15 years' time. And then, of course, we support research in the area of GBus. And for us, it's part of a total concept, using what we can use already today with GBus, a higher slope angle. Until we can use all the potential, it will take some more time. I mentioned already the group-wide PBN training concept, on the one hand, in order to really involve our people, inform them about technical developments, and really get more out of the whole system. A pilot who can fly a continuous descent, although he could fly differently, is a person who actively wants to make sure that there is less noise. CSAT 2020 is coming very soon. There will be more demonstration flights. This has been planned, and I'm happy to keep you informed if we are affected as a community. And I would like to thank for the invitation to talk to you and share my enthusiasm with you. Thank you very much, Mr. Lanz, and thank you very much to the Umwelthaus, and also thank you very much to the air noise commissions, as they have helped us on our way. They have had a very targeted approach. Okay, some had some gut feelings and problems with it, but then they supported it and they helped Lufthansa Group. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I speak English now. Lufthansa Group wants to play an active role in shaping the ATM system to decrease noise impact on the local communities. Thank you very much. I'm through, and now I can answer your questions. Thank you very much for your attention. Now, before we learn about the evaluation of noise data, let's just limit our questions to questions of understanding. We can have the discussion after Mrs. Goldmann's presentation. There was a question there, the first one. Good morning. Christian Boboski, Austria Control. If I have understood it correctly, you said that 80% of Lufthansa planes are in a position to fly FLEG. We offer that already in Austria at 3 airports, and I would love to see Lufthansa there as well in Vienna. We have done it for 2.5 years. How many of these aircrafts are not only technically equipped but also certified? That is, they are allowed to fly FLEG. And how many crews do you have that are able to do that? Basically, the FLEG can be flown by all, but we also have found in the trials that there is more demand for training in that respect, so that it's used more intensively. I can't give you a percentage figure. I know that the AF legs are being flown in other places of the world, especially also long-distance flights. That's an issue that I'm happy to take home, because the training concept was developed together with your airline in Austria, and it would be also great to put it to a group standard. Thank you, Mr. Faulenbach. I share your enthusiasm that you've demonstrated so intensively. A question. You did the trial flights, the demonstration flights. What would you say? Is this system stable? And what would be the number of hours flight that you could realize with that system here in Frankfurt? Northwest runway approaches, and also approaches to the southern runway. To begin with, these were the issues that we really concentrated on throughout the project. We rather carried out the demonstration flights in low traffic times, but we found that it really is dependent on capacity. I can't answer that question to you, but this is something that air controlling really intensively deals with. And as of a certain time, procedures cannot just be squeezed into the framework that we have. Sometimes we have to think about it, and we should basically change our running system with the toolbox that we have already. It's a fact how we planned and flew it. We had capacity reductions or deficits. Nevertheless, probably if you design procedures differently, start at a different point, integrate it into the system differently, it's possible. You can fly it. And the concept is so important that we are part of a total concept. It's not that you just introduce a new procedure and everything is great. No, it's one additional tool for the entire toolbox. And we need to consider the whole toolbox when we design airspace in the future. Microphone, please. There is no microphone. I'm sorry. I can't hear. If you're through, you're through. You're not allowed to continue. You're not the only person who speaks here. The map. Maybe I can show you the map again. I mentioned before on this map we had a moment where we... Here's the map. With that procedure, if you come from north, Delta Foxtrot 411, here the final descent was crossed on the right-hand side and 2.5 center once again, and on the left-hand side again, crossings. So in the long final, they got the lay vectors, or our plane got it, and the procedure here, the 07, was crossing 18, and other planes had to wait on 18 before they could start, during the time we had our demonstration flight. So I'm not an air controller. I know problems in air controlling as we talk to our colleagues, but this is one example, It's a tool. There's one more question over there. Ursula Fechter. Mr. Faulenbach da Costa asked my question already. It was precisely the same that I wanted to ask, but one addition. The procedure, the low noise procedure, is highly impressive, but is it correct that in the foreseeable future we cannot assume that it will be introduced? I don't know how you come to that statement. It's a fact that we need to think about it. You know, the time that we needed in order to introduce new procedures could be accelerated, and that's a mandate for the entire community. We are on board. We have to help. Air control is involved, and probably another authority that has to give the permissions later on, you know. We can only do that together. I alone, as Frank Nagel, as representative Lufthansa, can't do it alone, but thank you very much for that question. It's within our all interest to really do it together and accelerate it with the help of the enthusiasm that I shared with you, hopefully today. Mela, lawyer from Frankfurt. Mr. Nagel, I don't share fully your enthusiasm. You know, the flown over areas are not, as you said, not populated areas. I don't see that. And it's an illusion that by shifting flight routes, you could fly over non-populated areas in the Rhine-Main region. So I'm not sharing your enthusiasm. Probably I can explain why I'm that enthusiastic. I didn't say that I'm only enthusiastic because we relieved everyone here. I mean, this is just as difficult as to say when these procedures will be introduced. The reason why I'm enthusiastic is that we developed an extra tool, an additional tool, and it's so important to underline that. We tested an additional tool for future procedure design. Probably at different places we can use it as well. We can think how to do it because we've got this new technology right now. I've just mentioned it. I don't want to have this procedure published tomorrow. It was important for me that we got one, that we all work together in order to test and try whether the procedure can work, also with respect to GBAS and curved approaches, you know, all the information that was given to you. With present-day technology, we've created a new tool that we can use in the future in order to make it better in the future. All of us. You come from Frankfurt? Yeah, with the Frankfurt citizens, the Raunheim citizens, you know, we have to talk to all of you and find a solution. Frankfurt citizens must not only concentrate on Frankfurt and Raunheim, not only on Raunheim, you know. Only if we work together can we improve the situation. But thank you very much for this point, because I really want to continue to be enthusiastic. It was not a question, it was just a comment that I wanted to make. I just wanted to ask another question. That is, where's this last point where I have to go back to this straight descent? Where's the technical limitation? It's 5 nautic miles, approximately. We heard the colleague from Delta. They did it with 2.9, with 3 miles. I don't see it. It's 5 nautic miles, about 8.5 kilometers. It's behind Offenbach. Question here and the last question in the back, and then we have to continue and listen to the results of the noise evaluation. Angela Streibel, Aviation Authority Bremen. I've understood that this curved approach is an upstream procedure before the final descent with the help of GBAS and ILS. What technology is it that you need, where you would say that 80% of your planes are equipped already with it, that enables the aircraft to do this curved approach? It's GBS supported or satellite supported. The point why not all planes can do it, I showed you the AF legs and the coding. Before you coded one point in the air management system. For the AF leg, you have a point, a radius length, and the old FMS flight management systems don't have enough storage capacity to map all these procedures. So with those, you can't do it. That's the only restriction. But all planes that are newer, that is 15 years, 10 years old, are equipped with the more modern flight management systems, and they can do it. Mr. Vogelsang? I have one request. Be a bit more careful to talk about a low-noise flight procedure. You know, as an acoustic practice, I would say there are higher emissions. What you say here is that you become more flexible. In order to be able to assess it, you have to look at the emissions and the load that is produced, and then it becomes so difficult, especially if you bundle. You have to be so careful. You have a load curve. It's not linear, but exponential, and it might happen that you have load on fewer people, but in total the load was higher. Don't talk about low noise procedure. It's not low noise. Thank you very much. That's precisely what we are going to talk about. Mrs. Goldmann will talk about that. We talked about emission and noise load, etc. So now the floor is hers.